it's Earth Day. California is continuing to suffer under the worst drought in perhaps 1,200 plus years, which sounds weird to even say, but it's apparently true. And at the same time, mega food corporation Nestle is suffering under allegations that it's using expired permits to draw water for bottling from underneath national parks. Our partners at AJ Plus have put together a little video breaking down some of these allegations and the information there, and let's watch.
Closer to home, Nestle bottles 7 different brands of water in the USA, and if you go by their websites, 6 appear to be delivered by just one guy. Look at him! Water is one of those essentials we take for granted, but just like a massage from a drunk friend going through a breakup, we expect water to be free, but understand there could be a catch. To get 1 litre of bottled water on the shelves, it takes 86 litres of oil and 3 litres of water. That's like using a whole Sizzler buffet to make 1 breaded shrimp. And in California, it's like using a Sizzler buffet that's on fire. Right now, California is having a water crisis. The state is as dry as an Israeli sense of humour. And our food overlord pals at Nestle are sucking dry some of the most precious water reserves in the state, including groundwater in the desert. Yeah, they're tapping what little water there is left underground in places where there is very little water above ground to put in a bottle and truck all over the country to be sold and delivered to your workplace by that one poor fella, leaving local desert ecosystems dry and residents needing to find water for drinking, washing and cooking from elsewhere.
So yeah, it's an absolutely horrendous drought. It seems like it's probably not a coincidence that it's happening now, the worst in 1,200 plus years. I saw a map breaking down.
And we know that's true because Jerry Brown was governor during the last drought that was this bad.
So you think it's tied in with him specifically?
Totally, yeah.
He takes the longest showers. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But yeah, so at the time where every Californian is being asked to cut their water consumption by something like 25%. The fact that Nestle is bottling up water and shipping it off, and its water consumption has gone up over the past 5 years by something like 19%, they're facing a lot of criticism. Now, there are a lot of industries that are using tons of water, and so Nestle's going to make the case that it's not really fair to target them specifically, but especially if they are using permits that expired in 1988 to get this water from underneath a national park, and then they're selling it. Something seems fishy about that. And they interviewed in that extended video.
See what you did there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Water.
Yeah.
Fish love it. They talked to some of the supervisors of the national park, and they said, you know, we've got a lot of things on our plate. We just haven't had time to look into it. It's been almost 30 years. They should look into it at some point. I would look into the possibility of corruption. I don't have any evidence, but it's been almost 30 years. We have a quote now in response to some of this criticism from Jody Neuren, San Bernardino National Forest Supervisor, who says, now that it has been brought to my attention that the Nestle permit has been expired for so long, on top of the drought, it has gone to the top of the pile in terms of a program of work for our folks to work on. So they're working on it.
They're working
on
their
big
work.
problem. Exactly, makes sense.
They've got work, and you know what they do with it? They work on it.
They're working.
They're working on their work, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This drought has made me realize a lot of things. One of them is that there's lots of water under the ground that I didn't know about. And in fact, that's why in California, most of the farmland, or a lot of the farmland, is desert that they turn into farmland because of so much groundwater, which I didn't realize that. But again, big corporations sucking groundwater for free without a permit for 30 years. Yeah, we were busy doing other stuff. What were you doing? We were watching the trees grow. What do you think we do over here?
There's this new butterfly. It's adorable.
So. Of course, they shouldn't be doing this. Of course, we don't have representative government anymore. We only have it in theory. So they represent the.
Or
Nestle.
if you have a lot of money to donate.
Yes.
Possibly.
So they'll keep doing this forever.
Well, we don't know that there was hush money spent on behalf of, hey, don't let them know that our permit's expired.
Oh, no,
it's
probably totally. I said it sounded fishy. I didn't say that.
So like it's probably some lax government enforcement about these things. It never really mattered until it becomes a crisis, and then you take a look at it and you say, whoa, whoa, whoa. But by the same token, I heard somebody, and I think it was on NPR the other day, saying, this is worth complaining about. But by the same token, all the water that is coming from out of state that's being bottled by bigger companies is saving a lot of water in this state as well. But this one, the Nestle's, has a lot to do with the San Bernardino National Forest. They're going to Oregon as well to get so a lot of the water that's bottled and brought here is coming from out of state, which I guess this scientist was saying, or I don't know if he was a science geologist, I think, was saying that it alleviates some of the strain on California as well. So.
Yeah, and I saw that one of the Nestle representatives said that the total amount of water that we use or waste I forget the exact word they said, was what it takes to water 2 golf courses a year.
Over a year.
And my response to that was, then we probably also need to look at the golf courses because that's insanity.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's what's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they say, I mean, you hear all these things. They say if every single person from Los Angeles south moved out of California, it would only cut into our water by about 10%. The Central Valley is everything.
Yeah.
It's all
In
the
terms of
farming, all the
agriculture
agriculture,
and
all of
the
it. I mean, of course, that
almonds.
comes back to you.
Yeah.
But the whole the 1 gallon per almond thing, the famous
Yes.
was what
Now,
they said.
I also heard, listening to NPR the other day, and they made the point that a lot of golf courses use reclaimed water.
Yeah.
So I used to get crazy every time I drove past a golf course, but now since I understand that a lot of them are using reclaimed water, I'm okay with it a little bit
You're
more.
fine. Yeah.
I'm a little
Okay.
better with it, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, otherwise that water would just go down to into the ocean.
Yeah.
But
Which
I'm not
already
going to be a
has more
hypocrite
than
about this.
enough.
If there was a drought of crunch bars in America, I would not want Nestle to stop providing crunch bars, so I'm not going to say it about water.
Yeah, and the number that shocked me the most was that they said to produce to put 1 liter of water on the shelves, it took something like 80 plus liters of oil and multiple liters of water. Which, look, I've totally bought into the whole thing of having bottled water. You know, when you go somewhere, you want to have bottled water, but it does seem incredibly inefficient still after all this time, and perhaps it isn't necessary in every situation. I would invest in a
The point would have been
refillable
made.
bottle.
It would have been a better
perhaps.
point if they hadn't used the metric system.
No
Exactly.
doubt.
Right?
The liters, come
Stop
on.
with the liters.
Goddamn
How many
liter.
cups?
Right.
But I'm putting my money in desalination plants because that
San
is-
Diego's opening
Yeah.
up a big one.
It's happening, and then that's the future. I think that's where you're going to get. There's a lot of water out there. Just got to get the
Tons.
goddamn salt out.
And then getting water
very
out of
expensive.
air is another thing that people are doing.
Oh,
It's
there's a
crazy.
name for that. Yeah.
Moisture farming.
Is that what
It's
it is?
popular on Tatooine. I don't know if it's spread to California much.
Are you
It's a
kidding?
Star Wars joke. Never mind.